everyone, my name is Aastha. I welcome you all to our 10th class for International English Olympiad. Today we will be learning a very important topic, which is tenses. Now tenses is something that I can call the backbone of English. Why? Because if you get the tenses wrong, it completely changes the meaning of your sentence. So watch this class carefully, take your notes and revise them properly. Let's start our class.
So what is our topic of the day? Now which topic are we going to do today? It is tenses. Now tenses, they form one of the most important, and when I say the most important, I really mean one of the most important topics of English grammar. Because if you say the wrong tenses and if you form the incorrect form of the verbs using the incorrect tenses, then whatever you say in English will be misunderstood and will not give a good impression to the person in front of you. So tenses are the most basic pillar of English, and they really have to be understood completely so that you can have good command on the language. All right, let's start. So how are we going to go about for the topic of tenses? First of all, we will be doing the introduction, wherein I will explain what tenses are to you. Then which will be followed by understanding of the topic, which means the various tenses like the simple tense, the simple past, simple present, simple future, and the continuous forms, etc. So these various forms, this will be followed by the examples of the various forms, their correct usage, and then at the end, the most important part of your preparation, the mock questions. So this is how we will be moving on towards your tenses preparation. All right, let's start. So the first question that comes to our mind is, what exactly are tenses? Right? So tenses are nothing but an important tool that tell us what? That tell us when the action happens. And the words which actually tell us the action were verbs. So these verbs are formulated as per the tenses. Now these verbs, you have to understand the cycle. The verbs tell us about the action, and these tenses, they tell us about when that action happens. Right? So verbs and tenses, they go hand in hand. There can be no verbs without any tenses. There can be no tenses without verbs. So both of them go hand in hand. Let's start. Now there are three main verb tenses. What are these? Let's see. First is present. Present means the current situation, the current time, that is present, and it is the original verb form. It is the original verb form. Second is past. Past means something that has happened previously. The past form of the verb is used, and how the past form is understood, and what is the past form of the verb, which is what we will do in the upcoming class as well. So first is the present tense, second is the past tense, and the third one is and for these three forms that we discussed, there are going to be 4 subcategories of each, which is simple form, continuous form, perfect form, and perfect continuous form. Which means like for present, we'll have present simple, present continuous, present perfect, and present perfect continuous. This will be valid for all the 3 tenses, like present, past, and future. Okay, we'll discuss all of them in detail. Alright, so now we start off with what is present simple and what is present continuous. So, what are their usages? Now, present simple is used when we're talking about some general truths. Jesse, we're talking about some obvious facts. For example, here हम एक जनरल ट्रूथ की बात कर रहे हैं कि इट जनरली रेन्स इन जुलाई इन दिल्ली। जुलाई में आपने देखा होगा कि यूजुअली दिल्ली में बारिश होती है, तो एक जनरल ट्रूथ है, एक ऑब्वियस फैक्ट है। सो फॉर दैट वी यूज, for these kind of situations we use present simple. Similarly, for present continuous, हम यूज करते हैं उसे for referring to the actions happening now. जो actions अभी के अभी right now which are happening right now, जो अभी in process हैं, जो अभी continued हैं, so present continuous. For example, she is reading a book. मतलब वो अभी एक book read कर रही हैं, she is in between process है, right? अभी चल ही रहा है वो process. So present simple for general truths, like it generally rains in July in Delhi, and then present continuous for actions happening now. For example, she is reading a book. All right, now let's see next. So next we have simple present and present continuous key formation. Now these formations we will be discussing in detail in the next few slides. एक बस छोटा सा you should understand that present simple कैसे form होता है? Subject plus either the verb, the first form, or verb and s or es. Now here we have an example. I read the newspaper every morning. Now I is the subject, then read is the verb. So verb की जो first form है that is used, या फिर जब s या es कब लगता है ये हम next slides में देखेंगे, complete formation of present simple. अभी बस आपको छोटा सा ये देखना है कि subject plus verb या फिर verb with s or es and the object which is the newspaper every morning. Alright, then for the rest of it, like here we have subject, then we have am or is or are. ये कब कब use होते हैं? This is also something that we will see in the next few slides. And then verb की ing form. For example, in present continuous you see I is the subject, then am, and then reading. Read is the verb and the ing form is reading. So the correct formation is subject plus am or is or are plus verb ing. Alright, so एक basic overview हमने slide में क्या सीखा कि present simple हम use करते हैं when we talk about general truths, कोई obvious facts जैसे generally rains in July in Delhi, या फिर it is generally cold in it is generally cold in December in India, and present continuous जो अभी actions हो रहे हैं. For example, जैसे she is reading a book, या फिर हम और क्या example दे सकते हैं. अभी what are you doing? You are studying English, so that is also present continuous. What am I doing? I am teaching English. That is also present continuous. Now these are the actions which are happening now, जो अभी हो ही रहे हैं, जो start हो चुके हैं और अभी हो रहे हैं पर अभी खत्म नहीं हुए हैं. Right? So that's it. Now let's move on to the next slide. Now we have the simple present tense rules. Now these simple present tense rules, as I told you, they are about कि formation कैसे होती है in simple present tense. Now for the is, am, are verbs, which means when we are talking about to be, when we are talking about a state of being, those verbs. Remember verbs क्या-क्या बताते थे हमें? Verbs हमें बताते थे कोई action, कोई occurrence या फिर कोई state of being. So is, am, are verbs, they tell us a state of being. तो उसमें when do we use these? जैसे I के लिए we use am, I am an English teacher. And for the other person we use he or she के लिए he or she is an English teacher. And for they, for plural we use are, they are English teachers. All right. So that's for the is, am, are verbs. And for the other verbs, either we use the first form of the verb or we put in s or es accordingly. For example, here you see alongside I, we get I teach English. Right, the first form of the verb. And then with he, we use he teaches. And then with they teach English. All right. So we sometimes use s or es with verbs. All right. And here we use is, am, are verbs. These are the basic rules. Now let's move on to more formation of more further details in the formation of the simple present. Alright, so here we will be doing for simple present positive, negative and question sentences. Let's start. Now here you see I, you, he, she, it. All these are singular. Then we, you, they. All these are plural. Then I, first person, you is second person, he, she, it. All these are third person. We is first person, you is second person, they is third person. So here with the first singular person, we use the subject and the verb original form, start, subject plus verb. And then for the second person, same subject and the original form of the verb. Similarly for the third person, now this is different. For the third person, what happens is the subject, he, she, it, and the verb with s. Now this is the verb which we are using is to start. Suppose if we would have used another verb like teach, then we would have used es instead of s. So es, teaches, he teaches, she teaches, it teaches. So it would have been es instead of s. So for the third singular person. Now for the plural, it remains the same, the subject and the verb. Alright, the original form. That is for the positive sentences. Now we move to the negative sentences. Negative sentences, we insert either do not or does not. Now for the third singular person, we insert does not. What do we insert? Does not. Here. Alright. And for the rest of them, we insert do not. But one thing that you have to remember is, in the third person here, we don't have s or es. You see, because this s and es, this is already included in the do, to do. The verb here becomes to do, and start becomes the second verb. So the verb here becomes to do, and this es is included in here, does. Alright, so this verb start, this remains in the original form. Right, for the singular and the plural both. Now for the question. Question again, it starts with do I start, do you start, does he start. So here again, does in the third singular form, and for the rest it remains do. And the verb also remains in the infinitive form, the original form, start, start, start. Do I start, do you start, does he start, does she start, does it start. Then for plural, do we start, do you start, do they start. Alright, now this chart is very important for your simple present. Let's move on. So now we have present continuous. So let's see how are we going to do present continuous now. Here, positive sentences, negative sentences and questions. Alright. So again, now this is all singular, and this is what? Plural. Right, and this is the third person, first person, second person and the third person. Similarly for plural, first person, second person and third person. Now here the formation, as I told you, was what? The subject plus either am or is or are. And then what? Then the verb, and then verb with the verb what is formed? ing. Alright, so let's see. In the positive first person, we start with I, am, right, and then the verb is start plus ing. Am is used with I. Then for the second person, you, and what is used? Are, and the verb start plus ing. You are starting. Then for the third person, subject and is, and verb plus ing. He is starting, she is starting, it is starting. Then for the plural, first person, we are starting, verb plus ing, Then the second person, you are starting. And the third person, they are starting. For the negative, now here we insert an not. We insert a not, that I am not starting. And all we have to do is insert a not here. Not. He is not starting. She is not starting. It is not starting. We are not starting. You are not starting. They are not starting. Alright. Then for questions, we begin with the verb. We start with the verb and go on like, am I starting? Are you starting? Is he starting? Is she starting? Is it starting? Are we starting? Are you starting? Are they starting? Alright, now this is all for the present continuous formation. Alright, so now we have a few more usages, that when do we use present simple and when do we use present continuous. Let's see. Now present simple indicates your present habits, whatever your ongoing habits are. For example, we have the wild animals, they prefer to live in their natural habitat. This is a present habit for the wild animal subject, and the verb is prefer, and then the object. Alright, but for present continuous, when we talk about habits as always, that for example, she is always coming to class late. So how did we form this? Subject plus either we use is or am or are. Then we have inserted an always, and coming, which means come plus ing, verb and the ing form and the object. Alright, so present habits are indicated by present simple and always habits are indicated by present continuous. Let's move on. Now when we are talking about some timetable events, like some things which are set as per the timetable, like my aunt's family arrives at 12 noon today. Right, this is a timetable event. So for that we use present simple. Then for some kind of future arrangements, but immediate. Alright, immediate future arrangements which you are planning right now or which you are talking about right now. Like my friend is planning to meet me in the evening. So this is your future arrangement, but you're talking about it right now. You know that we are planning to do this. So we are still planning. This is a continuous thing which is happening. And again for always also, this is also a continuous thing. She's always coming to class late. मतलब अभी भी वो habit continued ही है. Right? This arrangement is also अभी भी continued. The planning is still going on, right? You're planning to meet me in the evening. This is the broad difference between present simple and present continuous. Alright. Alright, now we have present perfect and present perfect continuous. We did present simple and present continuous. Now present perfect and present perfect continuous. When are they used? Present perfect is used when we're talking about any action which is finished. Like here, we're talking about it in the present and it has just finished. Like the kids have played for 3 hours. So how is it formed? The subject, the kids, and have or has as per the subject have, and verb 3, V3, played. Whatever V1, V2, V3, we are going to do it in the end. Just letting you know that V3 form, which is the past participle form. The kids have played for 3 hours. Then here, present perfect continuous talks about unfinished actions formed with subject plus have or has plus been plus verb plus ing. Now here you see the kids have, the kids is the subject, have to be used, then been, and then verb is play, the ing form, playing since 4 p.m. So it is an action which hasn't finished, which means the kids are still playing, right? So we use present perfect continuous for an action that is still continuing, that is unfinished. Okay, so present perfect and present perfect continuous. All right. So here we have the positive, negative, and question, the interrogative formation for present perfect tense. Like I told you, we have the subject plus have or has, and then the third form, which is the V3, the past participle. This is the first person, second person, then third person male, third person female, third person neutral, first person plural, second person plural, and third person plural. And this is positive, negative, and interrogative. Alright, so you see I have seen, or I haven't seen, or have I seen. So you see, this is how we will be forming. This is how we have conjugated the verb to see. It is the verb being conjugated here. Like for first person singular, I have seen, I haven't seen, have I seen. Then for second person singular, you have seen, you haven't seen, or have you seen. And then for the third person male, female, neutral remains the same obviously. He, she, it has seen or hasn't seen, or has he seen, has she seen, has it seen. Then we have first person plural, we have seen, we haven't seen, have we seen. Then the second person plural and singular both remain the same. You have seen, you haven't seen, or have you seen. Then we have the third person plural, they have seen, they haven't seen, or have they seen. Alright, so this is how we are going to form the present perfect tense, which is, you see, the with the V3 form. Okay, in the second category, which is the negative one, you just have to add not, and here you put have or has first, then the subject, and then the V3. All right, this was present perfect. Now here we have present perfect continuous. Like here, for first person singular, I have been starting, I haven't been starting. The question would be, have I been starting? So here which verb it is? Start, to start. Present perfect continuous. Then second person singular and second person plural will remain the same. You have been starting, you haven't been starting, or have you been starting. Then the third person male, female, neutral, has been starting, hasn't been starting, or he or she, whatever, been starting. Alright. Then the first person plural, we have been starting, we haven't been starting, or have we been starting. And then the third person plural, they have been starting, they haven't been starting, and have they been starting. Alright, so here you see we have subject and then have or has, been, and the verb ing. Then for the negative you have the subject, have or has, then not, because it is negative, been, and verb plus ing. And for question you either have or has, then the subject, then been, and verb ing. Alright, so this is the formation for present perfect continuous. Here, let's see a few more uses for present perfect and present perfect continuous so that you have a clarity as to when they are used. Like present perfect is used when you're talking about any permanent actions. Like I have lived here for 3 years, it's a permanent action. But for temporary actions, like I have been taking this class since half hour. So for that we use present perfect continuous. Then we have when we have to emphasize on the result. Like my brother has done his homework. So we're emphasizing on the result that he has completed the homework. So we use present perfect. But if we have to emphasize the duration, then we use present perfect continuous, like he has been doing this work or the work since morning. Alright. So this is the broad usage, different usage between present perfect and present perfect continuous. Alright. So now we have done present tense and now it's time to move on to the past tense. Let's start. Alright, so when do we use simple past and when do we use past continuous? Let's see. Now, simple past is used to indicate completed actions in the past. The actions जो past में हुए पर वो complete हो चुके हैं. Alright. And also some habits and facts of the past, जो पुरानी बातें हैं. कोई fact जो past में हो चुका है, जो habit जो past की है. So basically past की जो चीजें होती हैं, जो action जो complete हो गया, या फिर कोई habit जो थी past में, या फिर कोई fact जो था past का. Example, I went to the pool yesterday. अब ये एक एक्शन था जो मैंने कल कंप्लीट कर लिया. मतलब कि मैं कल I went to the pool yesterday, मैं कल पूल पे गया था या गई थी और वो जो एक्शन था वो कल ही कंप्लीट हो गया, राइट? कल होके आ गई. So I went and this is the completed action in the past. Alright. Now next example could be, when I was young, I always visited my grandparents' place during summer. Now here, this is also a fact and habit of the past कि जब भी during summer, I always visited. मैं हमेशा visit करता था, पर ये past की बात है. Right? This is the habit and fact of the past. So when I was young, I always visited my grandparents' place during summer. This is for the simple past. Now for past continuous, past का कोई interrupted action, जैसे here जैसे और क्या लिखा है, specific time as an interruption and parallel actions. जैसे मैं आपको example देती हूँ कि I was doing my homework when the bell rang. I was doing my homework. ये हो गया past continuous कि मैं अपना होमवर्क कर रही थी, past में कर रही थी अपना होमवर्क और फिर क्या हुआ, ये एक्शन इंटरप्ट हो गया, राइट? When the bell rang. तो मैं प्रोसेस में थी अपना होमवर्क करने के कि अचानक से वो इंटरप्ट हुआ और क्या हुआ, the bell rang. So an interrupted action is represented by past continuous. कोई past का, right? Then the other one, I was driving my car when the car crashed. This is, just ignore this. I was driving my car when the car crashed. So मैं अपनी कार ड्राइव कर रही थी. This is also past continuous. और फिर क्या हुआ, वो एक्शन इंटरप्ट हुआ, एक पैरेलल एक्शन हुआ which is when the car crashed. Right? So simple past जो है कोई एक्शन जो कंप्लीट हो चुका है, जो हैबिट थी या फैक्ट था पास्ट का. और पास्ट कंटिन्यूअस जो कंटिन्यूसली एक्शन जो पास्ट में हो रहा था पर वो इंटरप्ट हो गया. कोई स्पेसिफिक टाइम एज एन इंटरप्शन एंड पैरेलल एक्शंस. Alright, so this is the usage of simple past and past continuous. So now we have the patterns of simple past tense for regular verbs. अब सिंपल पास्ट टेंस की जो फॉर्मेशन है हम रेगुलर वर्ब्स के लिए करेंगे और इरेगुलर वर्ब्स के लिए करेंगे. तो सबसे पहले हम रेगुलर वर्ब्स के लिए कर लेते हैं. एफर्मेटिव सेंटेंसेस मतलब पॉजिटिव सेंटेंसेस पर रेगुलर वर्ब्स की बात हो रही है यहाँ पे. ओके, लेट्स सी हियर कैसे फॉर्मेशन होती है. द सब्जेक्ट प्लस द वर्ब एंड ed. जैसे the verb is skip, so the subject I and skip and ed, skipped, right. Similarly यहाँ पे he होता या she होता तो he skipped, she skipped, they skipped, you skipped, we skipped and they skipped. All right, so this is for the positive. Then again negative है. नेगेटिव के लिए did not, सब्जेक्ट प्लस did not क्योंकि पास्ट का हम बता रहे हैं. did not प्लस द इंफिनिटिव विदाउट टू. इंफिनिटिव मतलब द ओरिजिनल फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ब. जैसे द सब्जेक्ट, जैसे हमने एग्जांपल लिया है they didn't या did not go. So the verb here is go and it is formed with did not go. So आपको did not के साथ बहुत important है ये याद रखना कि didn't या did not के साथ जो है वो ओरिजिनल फॉर्म ही लगेगा. यहाँ पे go का भी हम past tense नहीं लगा देंगे कि did not went. This will be did not go only. Okay, the infinitive form only. This is very important. So many people make mistakes in this one. This is one of the most important aspects. So subject जैसे I didn't go, you didn't go, he, she, it didn't go, we didn't go, they didn't go. All right, this is negative. Next we move on to interrogative मतलब questions. So here तो we start with did only, right. We start with the verb did plus subject and then the infinitive without to. Again the same rule applies here. The infinitive without to, यहाँ पे past form नहीं use होता verb का, यहाँ पे infinitive the original form is used only. So did I arrive, did you arrive, did he, she, it arrive, did we arrive, did you arrive, did they arrive. So did and the subject and the infinitive without to. All right, in one more category, this is pretty easy. ये आपको समझ आ गया तो ये वाला भी बहुत आसानी से समझ आ जाएगा. Interrogative negative. Interrogative negative में didn't, did not plus the subject plus the infinitive without to. The same thing here applies. Didn't I play, didn't you play, didn't he play, didn't she play, didn't it play, didn't we play, didn't you play, didn't they play. All right, so this is the patterns of simple past tense for regular verbs. All right, now let's move on. So now these are a few examples for the regular verbs. जैसे यहाँ पे verb है to be, here the verb is to have, this some action possession बता रहे हैं, do telling some occurrence, be telling about a state of being. So for be we use, so for be we say, we can form it as I was, you were, he, she, it was, we were, you were, they were. Alright, this is the past tense, simple past tense for the regular verbs that we're talking about. Then for have, all the formations are in had. And for do, All the formations are in did. Alright, now these are a few basic verbs जो आपको पता होने चाहिए कि कैसे इनका past tense में formation होती है. Be, to have and to do. Alright. Alright, so now these are a few examples of simple past. Just you see, they weren't in Rio last summer. So simple past, negative, they were not. Right, यहाँ पे to be का conjugation हो रही है in the past tense. They were not in Rio last summer. Completed action in the past कि last summer Rio में थे ही नहीं, action complete हो गया. Similarly, possession के लिए we did not have any money. Right? अब वैसे तो have के लिए क्या होता है? Had होता है. Right? Past में अभी हमने पिछली slide पे देखा had. पर यहाँ पे हम didn't have क्यों यूज कर रहे हैं? क्योंकि हमने सीखा था कि we didn't have did not के साथ हम infinitive form यूज करते हैं, the original form. had नहीं यूज करेंगे. had तब यूज करते जब हम बोलते without didn't. जैसे we had money. अगर didn't नहीं होता तब हम had यूज करते. अभी didn't है तो हम have यूज करेंगे. Alright. Now here, we didn't have time to visit the Eiffel Tower. Again, then we didn't do our exercises this morning. Now again, this is a question, interrogative, were they? The interrogative word, then the subject, were they in Iceland last January? Then the other one, did you have a bicycle? Did you do much climbing in Switzerland? Alright, these are a few examples आपको बस clarify करने के लिए. Now let's move on. Alright, so here we have some irregular verbs. Now the irregular verbs जैसे to go, इनका जो है हम past simple past का एक past participle होता है. जैसे to go का past tense में होगा went. Right? So I went, she went, he went, they went, you went, we went, so went. But जैसे एग्जाम्पल है he went to a club last night. But अगर हम इसे did के साथ यूज कर रहे हैं, did के साथ क्या यूज होगा? The infinitive form. I am stressing on this again and again that you have to really remember this. With did, we will be using the infinitive form. Like, did he go to the cinema last night? So this is the past tense, but did के साथ go, the original form is only used. Then he didn't go to bed early last night. Didn't के साथ the original form. Similarly, for the next one, to give, इसमें the past participle is gave. We gave her a doll for her birthday. The rest of them did के साथ didn't जब आ रहा है. They didn't give, which means the original form. They didn't give John the new mattress. For question also, did Barry give, which means the original form. Did Barry give you my passport? And for the rest of them, we use gave when there is no did to be used. I gave her, you gave, he gave, she gave, it gave, we gave, you gave, they gave. Alright, we use gave. Then for similarly to come, the word to be used in the past tense is came. I came, you came, it came, he came, she came, we came, you came, they came. Alright? But again, we didn't This is the negative. Negative में क्या होगा? We didn't come because it was raining. And then for the question, did he come? मतलब यहाँ पे हमारा original form. So only in the positive sentences, you see in the जब हम affirmative positive sentences की बात कर रहे हैं तो हमारा जो past participle word है, go का went, give का gave, to come का came. उसमें हम use करते हैं past participle and otherwise we use with did and the infinitive without to. Alright, these are the irregular verbs. Now let's move on. Okay, now there are a few verbs जो अपने past tense में भी same रहते हैं. जैसे हमने काफी verbs करे, जैसे give का gave हो गया, I am का I was हो गया, he is का he was हो गया, we are का we were हो गया, इस तरीके से. But कुछ verbs हैं जो same रहते हैं, जैसे we have hit का hit ही रहता है, I hit, present में भी and past में भी I hit ही रहेगा. Cost का cost, hurt का hurt ही रहेगा, cut का cut रहेगा, put का put रहेगा. Alright, now these are a few verbs which stay the same. Alright now. Now the past continuous tense. First of all, the positive sentences. How are they formed? Subject plus was or were plus verb plus ing. For example, she was, sleep is the verb and ing. She was sleeping all morning. Now the other examples could be I was sleeping all morning, and with you we would use were. You were sleeping all morning. Then she was sleeping all morning. We again, with we were sleeping all morning. They were sleeping all morning. Alright, so positive works like this. Then for negative sentences, negative could be subject plus was or were, similar like this, and then not. We include a not in here. And everything else remains the same. We just have to insert a not in the middle. For example, she was not reading the book. We're talking about past continuous tense, right? So she, subject, plus was or were, plus not. Reading the book. Read is the verb and ing. Then we have question. The third category is the question. Here we start with the verb, either was or were, then the subject plus verb ing. Example, were you sleeping in the class? Remember, with you we use were, and with they also we use were. Were they sleeping in the class? Or were you sleeping in the class? And for say the singular second person, we could say, was she sleeping in the class? Alright, so this is the formation. Was a word plus subject plus verb plus ing. This is the formation for the past continuous tense. Now we have various usages and examples for the past continuous tense. Let's see. Past continuous tense is used to describe any parallel actions. Parallel actions like, now the bell rang. Rang is what? Is the past form of ring, and it is used for, this is past simple past. But while I was doing what? Which action was interrupted? While I was reading. Now reading was the interrupted action, which means I was reading, alright. I was reading and then उसमें एक पैरेलल एक्शन हुआ और उससे इंटरप्ट हुआ, and that parallel action is described in simple past. The bell rang. Okay. So जो action जो interrupt हुआ है, so जो action जो interrupt हुआ है, that is used in past continuous. All right. Now next, we have an interrupted action in the past. Similarly, interrupted action कोई हुआ, जैसे I was eating. I was eating, and when what happened? When I heard a loud thud. All right. So again, which is the interrupted action? The interrupted action is I was eating. और अचानक से एक loud thud हुआ. So this action which is interrupted is eating, and that is in past continuous. All right, then next, to describe action being done in past, जो action past में हो रहा था. All right, for example, I was working all day long. मतलब पूरे दिन continuously I was working, so the action was being done. All right. और अगर मुझे ये बोलना होता कि मैंने कल काम किया है, I completed this work, so I will say I worked yesterday, I completed my work yesterday, so that will be simple past, and this is past continuous. Why? Because we are telling about an action being done. All right. Now to show any kind of repetition and irritation. Here I'm sorry, there's a spelling error. For repetition between P and T, we get E. So to show any repetition or irritation, example, why are you always complaining? So complain and ing, the past continuous form. So when is past continuous used? Describe parallel actions, to show any interrupted action in the past, to describe action being done in the past, or to show any repetition and irritation. All right, let's move on. Okay, so now we have past perfect and past perfect continuous. Past perfect is formed with had plus the past participle. Past participle is what? V3. And past perfect continuous is formed with had been plus the verb ing. Because whenever there's continuous, you have to put in verb plus ing. Okay, be it continuous or perfect continuous in any of the forms, present, past, or future. Any of these, you have to use verb plus ing. So when is past perfect used? It is used for a past action that has already finished when another action happened. Alright, like let's see an example. After I had completed my work, I went to play. Okay, so here you see both the actions have happened in the past. Okay, this person, for example me, I completed my homework also in the past and I went to play also in the past. So both the actions are of the past. But which action happened first in the past? The action that happened first was that I completed my work. So the action which happened first is used in past, is conjugated in past perfect. Like here, after I had completed my work. This is past perfect, and then here went to play. This is simple past we are using. Alright, then past perfect continuous is used for a past action which continued to happen after another action in past. Like here, I had been listening to music when my mother came home. So here you see this action, like I was listening to music. So you see, suppose this is the action of me listening to music. So my mother came home when this action was happening, right? This action was continuous. So during this action, my mother came home. So that's when we use past perfect continuous. Like I had been listening. All right. So I hope you understood the broad difference. Past perfect is used for an action that has already happened and actually happened before the action, which means जो ज़्यादा पुरानी बात है, for that we use past perfect. And we use past perfect continuous, like when an action was which continued to happen after another action in the past. All right. Okay, so here we have past perfect tense and its formation in positive, negative, and interrogative. This is the first person singular. I had started, I hadn't started, and question would be had I started. Here which verb are we conjugating? Start, to start. Now similarly, you can go on for all of these, but you see how the formation goes is subject plus had plus the V3 form, the past participle. Then for the negative, subject had not, okay, because we're talking about a negative sentence. Then V3 again. Then here in the questions in interrogative form, we use had plus the subject plus V3. Valid for all these, like whether you say first person singular, second person, or the third person, or first person plural, second person plural, or the third person plural. All right. Okay, so here we have past perfect continuous. Here the verb that is conjugated is work. Now in any continuous form, we have the verb plus ing. Okay, always remember that. Whenever there is an ing, that is one of the continuous forms. Then here the formation is subject plus had plus been plus verb ing. Then for negative, it is the subject, then had not. Okay, not, why? Because we're talking about a negative sentence. Then been and the verb ing. All right. Then for the other interrogative, start with had, then the subject, been, and verb ing. All right. So this is valid for all these forms, whether be it singular, plural, first person, second person, or third person. All right. Alright, here we have a few more uses of past perfect and past perfect continuous to tell you the differences. Like what past perfect does is, it shows you two linked events. Okay, like I couldn't walk properly because I had hurt my leg. So it is linking these two events, and also which action happened first? Which action happened first here? I had hurt my leg. So this one is conjugated in past perfect. Then here, in past perfect continuous, it focuses on the cause of past action. Like since I had been walking for 2 hours. I had been walking. Right. My feet were sore. Right. So here, past perfect emphasizes result in the past. The team had won the match before the scandal surfaced. Team had won. So this is past perfect emphasizing the result, and past perfect continuous focuses on the duration, which is he had been cleaning. Right. He had been cleaning since morning, so he slept like a baby. So this focuses on the duration. All right. Alright, so now we will be starting off with future tense. We have done broad categories of past tense and present tense. Now we will move on towards future tense. Alright, let's start. Alright, so the next step we have is the future continuous tense. Let's see how it is formed. When we're talking about positive sentences, we have subject plus will plus be plus the verb plus ing and then the object. Since it is the continuous form, we will be having the verb plus ing. Then here, in the negative sentences, subject plus will not or won't, be plus verb ing plus object. Then for a question, will, subject, verb, be, verb plus ing plus the object, and then of course the question. Alright, so this is the formation of future continuous tense. Let's see the uses now. Okay, so here we have the future continuous tense and its uses. We saw how it is formed. Let's see its uses. Like to tell about an interrupted action in future. If you reach my home before 8 a.m., the kids will be sleeping. Right. Then actions happening expected to continue, which means the actions which are happening right now are expected to continue. Like the global carbon emissions will be rising even in 2025. Then parallel actions in future. Like I will be doing the laundry tomorrow, will be doing. Whilst my father will be cooking. So will be cooking is what? Is again the future continuous tense, and will be doing is also future continuous tense. So these are the parallel actions that will be happening in the future. Okay, so future continuous tense is used to show interrupted action in future, action happening right now expected to continue, or maybe some parallel actions that might happen. Alright. Okay, so here now we have future perfect and future perfect continuous. How are they formed? Future perfect is formed with will plus have plus the past participle, which is what? V3. Then we have perfect continuous. How is that formed? Will have been plus the verb ing. Since it is the continuous form, we use verb plus ing. And when is future perfect used? When we have to tell about an action that will finish before a certain event or time in future. Okay, now here you have to focus a little. Future perfect. We are talking about the future, but we are talking about some action that we know it will finish by some other action in the future. Okay, I will explain this with an example. Like here you see, by the end of the year, I will have graduated. Now, end of the year, and I will have graduated. First action, second action. Which action will take place first? First, I will graduate. Okay, this will happen first, and then by the end of this year, this will happen next. Okay, so the action, I know my graduation will happen before before the end of the year. So for this I will be using future perfect. Why? Because it was happening anyway before the end of the year, right? So although both of these are future actions, but in future also, which is happening first? The first action, which means the immediate action जो future में पहले होगा, for that we use future perfect. Okay? Then we have future perfect continuous. Action that will continue until particular time or event in the future. Like, let's see, I will have been studying for 8 hours by 8 p.m. So I will be exhausted. Now the action that will continue until particular time, which means I will have been studying. So action is what? My study which will be continuing until when? Until 8 p.m. So for that also we use future perfect continuous. Alright, now I hope their purposes and their meanings are clear. Let's move on. Here we have future perfect tense. How is it used? In the first person, second person and third person, positive, negative and questions. Like the subject, then we have will have and the V3 form. Okay. In perfect, in any perfect category, we always have the V3 form. Right. Then for negative, I will not or won't, which means the subject plus will not or won't have, and then again the V3 form. Then for a question, will plus the subject plus have plus V3. Alright, so this is valid for all the persons and all categories of questions or positive or negative sentences. Okay, so this one is future perfect continuous, our last form of tense. Here positive, negative and questions. How is this formed? Subject plus will have been plus the verb ing. Why ing? Because it is the continuous form, right? So then for negative, subject plus will not have been, which means won't have been. We include a not in between because negative sentence. Then the verb plus ing. Right. Then we have for a question, will plus subject plus have been plus verb ing. Alright. So this is valid again for all the category of persons, first, second, third, singular or plural. Alright. Okay, so now we finish off with the tenses. We have done all the 12 categories for present, past and future. Now we'll just give you a brief reading about what is V1, V2 and V3. V1 is the base form of the verb. Like when I ask you to tell me a verb, you tell me like study, read, walk, jog. So words like this. So that is called the base form of the verb. Then we have past simple, like which is formed by adding ed or ied, which we discussed, right? Then we have past participle. Now this is important, past participle used in the perfect forms. Okay, so we will be most importantly focusing on this. But however, what I have done in the next few slides is I have provided you the most common verbs which are used in our regular conversations, and I have provided a list of their V1, V2 and V3 forms. So I will just be going through the slides, just reading out a few verbs that there are. If you want to save them, you can take a screenshot of them and save them for future references. Just provided a list for you so that you have all the resources to answer the questions. Alright, they're obviously I cannot provide you with all the verbs because the list is not exhaustive. The verbs, there are so many verbs in English. I've just provided a few common verbs. Okay, let's see. Okay, here like we have, this is V1, V2 and V3. Okay, like for be, for the verb to be, the second form, the past simple is was or were, and for perfect is been. Then beat, beat, beaten. Become, became, become. Begin, began, begun. Bend, bent, bent. Okay, bet, bet, bet. These are some of the irregular verbs which remain the same. Alright. Then we have bid, bid, bid. Again remains the same. Bite, bit, bitten. blow, blew, blown. Alright, so this is an example. I have provided a few more in the upcoming slides. I will just be reading the main verbs out to you. Okay, let's see. Like here the verbs are break, bring, build, burn, buy, catch, choose. Here we have come, cost, cut, dig, dive, do, draw, dream. Here you can take a screenshot or you can just go through them if you want. Pause the video and go through them. Drive, drink, eat, fall, feel, flight, find, fly, forget. I am not reading them out for you because it will become very monotonous. You can just go through them by pausing the video or you take a screenshot if you like. Alright. Forgive, freeze, get, give, go, grow, hang, have, here. Next up we have hide, hit, hold, hurt, keep, know, lay, lead. Here we have leave, lend, let, lie, lose, make, mean, meet, pay. Next up we have put, read, ride, ring, rise, run, say, see. Now here, although you see read, V2 and V3 form spells the same, but it is read as here read, V2 is read and V3 is also read. Okay, there is a difference in the pronunciation. Here we have sell, send, show, shut, sing, sit, sleep, speak, spend. Here we have stand, swim, take and teach. Here we have tear, tell, think, throw, understand, wake, wear, win and write. Alright, with this we finish off with our broad concepts of tenses. Tenses is a little bit heavy yet very important chapter because without knowing tenses, a person is bound to make mistakes in speaking and writing and so it is very, and even understanding. All right, so it is very important that you know tenses very well to have a good command over the language and also to solve the questions of IEO, which is why we are doing these classes. Right now we'll just have one slide with quick revision. Here I've just put a flow chart taken from the internet which has tenses and its probable sentences in positive, negative and questions. Okay, now for present simple, you see we form with the subject, then the V1 form and the object. So like I prefer my coffee black, I don't prefer my coffee black, or do I prefer my coffee black? Present continuous, we have ing. She is listening the music now. She is not listening the music now. Is she listening the music now? For present perfect again, we have V3 and has rained. It has rained a lot lately. It has not rained a lot lately. Has it rained a lot lately? Then for present perfect continuous again we have ing form but has been. So she has been singing a song. She has not been singing a song. Has she been singing a song? Now these are just examples. All right. We have done the broad formations. This is just a quick run through that you can go through. All right. For a basic quick understanding that how present simple, present continuous, present perfect, present perfect continuous, then past simple, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous. Then for future, future simple, future continuous, future perfect, and future perfect continuous are formed. Alright, now I also don't expect you to understand all this in one go if you don't have certain prior knowledge of this. If you knew about tenses, then this class would have acted like a revision. But if you don't, and if you found some concepts to be new, I would request you to go back and revise those concepts again and then move on to the questions. Alright, now we will be starting off with the questions only. Alright, so now let's start the quiz जो भी हमने revise किया है. We will be applying it in our mock questions which will be as per the pattern of the IEO exam. Now let's test you, and you should also keep your pen and paper with you and make columns and start doing the quiz. अगर आपको लगता है कि अभी you have not completely understood, so you should go back and revise it first, and then we will start off with the quiz. So let's start. Alright, so for the quiz, what we will be doing is, now every question you will be given 1 minute. 1 minute means 60 seconds. Why am I giving you 1 minute? Because you see, your question paper of IEO, it has about 50 questions, and so you can imagine that you get more or less a minute to answer the questions. Now this 1 minute is the maximum that you should be taking for answering the question. Now suppose there could be two, three categories of students. First category is, suppose you answer the question within that 1 minute. So I would request you to fast forward the video and skip right to the answer. You should not be wasting your time. Alright. Now the other students who are not able to answer the question in 1 minute, what you do, you don't skip to the answer. You pause the video and you write down your answer. Alright, it is very important to answer each and every question because there is no negative marking. Here you see, for every incorrect answer, no points, because there is no negative marking in IEO, so it is important that you attempt all the questions. Now for a question of which you are not sure about the answer, now even here and even in the exam, if you are not sure about the answer and you maybe think that B option might be correct or C option might be correct, so you should in that case play your luck and play your mind and make a guess and still give an answer, because it is a win-win situation. Either you will get the marks for that question or you will get a 0, right? But if you don't attempt that question at all, then you are anyway getting a 0 in that, right? So it is good to attempt those questions, and even if you don't know all the answers, try to understand and take a guess. Okay, so this is for every correct answer 10 points. This is just for your own little game where you can try to maintain a notepad. So here you write the name of the chapter and then the question, and then if it is correct you can give yourself 10 points. If it is not correct, you mark it here. So it is important to see these questions, the ones which you mark incorrect. It is important to go back to them later and then see where you did the mistake. Alright, this is just for your reference. For every correct answer you can give yourself 10 points. Alright, now let's start. Alright, so now we start off with the questions. This is the first category of questions that we will be doing. This one says, describe Meghna's daily routine in the kitchen by filling in the blanks using the correct simple present form of the verb from the given options. So here what we have to do is, we have this passage, we'll be reading this passage, and whatever the blanks are, we'll be filling in the correct simple present form. This is very easy. Simple present form is probably the easiest. Let's see the first blank. Meghna dash materials like water, sugar, tea, milk, fruits, vegetables, food grains, etc. in her kitchen daily. Okay, so from the options we can figure out the verb is use. So the simple present form of use is use plus as uses. Meghna uses materials like so on. The correct answer is B. Alright, here. Next, she dashed the skin of fruits like banana, oranges, apples, etc. before serving them. Now from the options we can see the verb is what? Peel. So how do we form the simple present form of peel? We add an S. So she peels the skin of fruits. So the correct answer is A. Alright, next. She dash useful components from useless ones. Now separate, separated, separates, had separated. The verb here is separate. How do we form the simple present form? Add an S. So she separates. The correct answer here is A. She separates useful components from useful ones. Now the fourth blank. So she dash on the principle that separation of substances dash. Okay, so she dash on the principle. Now here the verb we can figure out from the option is work. So how to form the simple present? She works. She works on the principle. The correct answer is B. So she works on the principle that separation of substances dash necessary to get useful components. I'll write last blank for this passage. So she works on the principle that separation of substances dash necessary to get useful components. Here the verb is to be, and for the present form it is conjugated as is because we're talking in the third person. Okay, is necessary. So the correct answer is D. Substances is necessary to get useful components. Alright, so the first passage is done. Okay, here what we have to do, the second category, choose the correct present continuous form of the verb. How is the present continuous formed? The present form of the verb plus ing. Pretty easy, right? Let's see. The verb, the present verb plus the ing. Let's see the question here. What is Guriya dash? Now here the verb is do. How is it? How is the present continuous formed? By adding ing. So what is Guriya doing? The correct answer is A. Plus the verb. Verb is what? Sit. And then we add ing. So the correct answer is B. Guriya is sitting on the sofa. Alright. So your time starts now. Now next, she dashed with her Barbie. Here the verb is play. So she, with she we use is, plus the verb is play. So we add ing to play. So is playing. She is playing with her Barbie. The correct answer is C. Now if you see the other options in A, यहाँ पे हमें is नहीं, auxiliary verb नहीं दिया. In B, here the auxiliary verb is incorrect. D, now here the whole conjugation is incorrect. This is present perfect, which is incorrect. Ninth, she dashed her striped dress. Now here, she again, with she the auxiliary verb we uses is. So she is, and then wear plus ing, she is wearing. The correct answer is B. We see the others. Wear, A is the original form. C, wear is simple present. D, has been wearing. Has been wearing. This is present perfect continuous, which is also incorrect. Okay, now the 10th blank. She about a new doll. Now the verb here is think. So she is think plus ing. She is thinking. The correct answer is D. She is thinking about a new doll. So here the other options, A think is the original form, B thinks is the simple present, C thinking is without the auxiliary verb. Alright, so the correct answer is D. Alright, the next category says, choose the correct present perfect or present perfect continuous form of the verb from the given options. So here what we have to do, we have to choose either present perfect or present perfect continuous. Let's see. I dash my email to my friend yet. So here we will be using present perfect. With I we use have, and let's see the options: didn't finish, haven't finished, C didn't finish, or D haven't finished. Here the correct answer is D, haven't finished. With I we use have plus not because this is a negative sentence, and then finished. This is the V3 form. Here in B you see the V3 form is not there, so it is incorrect. And in A and C, the auxiliary verb is also incorrect. Okay, here Ankit and his family dash in Europe for 3 weeks. Now you remember for past perfect continuous, for present perfect continuous, the focus was on what? The duration. So here we're talking about duration, so we will be using the present perfect continuous. So A, have been traveling. All right. Okay, here. How many trophies dash she dash 3 so far? Here we're focusing on the quantity. Now here did win, have won, has won, has win and has won. Here the correct answer is D. How many trophies has she won? This is again present perfect. All right. Has and won. One is what? The V3 form. For the others you see did, the auxiliary verb is incorrect, and win, the V3 form is also not there. Here have, the auxiliary verb is incorrect. Then in C, both of these are incorrect. Sorry, has is correct, but win, the V3 form is not there. Here, Steven Spielberg is a film director. He dash a lot of famous films. Is making made, has been making, or has made? Now we're talking about present perfect. So he has made a lot of famous films. The correct answer is D. Okay. For the others, A is present continuous, B made is past tense, C has been making is present perfect continuous, which is incorrect in such scenario. Alright, the next category. Here we have to choose the correct simple past or past continuous form of the verb from the given options. So either simple past or past continuous. This is also pretty easy. Let's see. I dashed all the answers in yesterday's test. I was know, I knew, I did know, or I know. Here the correct answer is B. I knew all the answers. This is the correct formation for what? Simple past. I knew all the answers in yesterday's test. B2 form of know is knew. Okay, here my uncle who lives in New York dashed me a t-shirt, but it dash of the wrong size. Now here again we will be using simple past. We have to choose between simple past and past continuous. So the easy choice here is simple past. So my uncle who lives in New York, let's see, sent me a t-shirt, but it was of the wrong size. Alright. Okay, here Rashmi dash in the park when she dash a wallet. Okay, now here the correct answer is B, where Rashmi was walking in the park when she found a wallet. Let me explain. Rashmi was walking. So this is past continuous. when she found a wallet, which means simple past. So what was the action taking? The action continuing. The action continuous one was Rashmi walking in the park. Then it was interrupted by what? She finding a wallet. So we use present continuous for Rashmi was walking in the park, and then simple past for when she found a wallet. Alright. Okay, now the next category. Choose the correct past perfect or past perfect continuous form of the verb from the given options. Let's see. There were no shops open in the village. They all dashed down. They all, the correct answer is B. They all had closed down. Okay, this is the past perfect. All now with the they all. This is the third person plural. With that we use had plus the V3 form of close, which is closed. Okay, here Mrs. Kapoor was worried because her husband dash. Because her husband, C, hadn't phoned. Why? Because we use had in the past perfect tense. Had, not, and the V3 form phoned. For the others, you see the auxiliary verb is also incorrect. Then in here, B1, the main verb is also incorrect. This is the continuous form, whether while here we use the V3 form. Sorry, I was so late last night. Dash you, dash about me. So here, the correct answer is A. Sorry, I was so late last night. Had you been worrying about me? Again, past perfect continuous. Had plus the plus the subject plus been plus verb ing. All the others are incorrect formation of past perfect or past perfect continuous. All the others are incorrect formations. Okay, here my parents dash a surprise party for me, but my little sister told me. So here we are using what? Past perfect continuous. So the correct answer here is D. Had been planning. Had, my parents is what? The third person plural. So had plus been plus verb plus ing. Alright, so the correct answer is D. Okay, now next we dash only dash for 5 minutes when the other side scored a goal. Here the correct answer is B. We had only been playing for about 5 minutes when the other side scored a goal. This is what? This is the past perfect continuous. Now in questions like these questions become so easy because you see you only have these two choices. Past perfect and past perfect continuous. Now for the others, there is not even a correct choice of past perfect. Okay, you just have a past perfect continuous in the option. So by default, automatically this becomes the correct answer. Now in objective questions like this, which I mean when you have to solve questions like these in competitive exams like the IEO, these kind of tricks really help you in solving the questions quickly. Now this doesn't mean you compromise in the concept, but once you have understood the concept, these kind of tricks really help you. Now, for knowing which is past perfect and which is past perfect continuous, for that you have to anyway know about the concept. But I'm just telling you that these answers become really easy when you see in past 3-4 questions that we have been doing. There is no other option also provided which is correct, which could be the answer, because the choice is between past perfect and past perfect continuous. So for out of the 4 options, only one option is provided of past perfect continuous, then all other 3 are of some others and not even one of past perfect. So you see the answer becomes so easy. Well, let's move on. Okay, here next category, what we have to do here is choose the correct future form of the verb from the given options. Reena dash home in time for dinner tonight. So here again the correct answer is C. Reema won't be home. This is the future form. Other isn't being, not will be. All of these are incorrectly formed for the future tense. All right. Okay, here what dash the life dash like on Earth in 2050. Now, first of all, let's just sort these questions out and see. First of all, for the future tense, that the tense formation always has will in it, right? So these two options are automatically eliminated. Now we have here and we have will here. Let's see. What will the life be like on Earth in 2050, or with what will the Earth to be like? Here the correct answer is B. What will the life be like on Earth? Okay, here we do not include the preposition to. All right. Okay, now next we dash with our grandparents next week. Here the correct answer is A. Will stay. We will stay with our grandparents next week. This is simple future. Now for the others you see B, will staying. This is incorrect formation for future. Continuous अगर form करना है तो will be staying होता है. Will be staying, which is incorrect. C stays. This is simple present, which is incorrect as well. D stay, which is the original form, again incorrect. Okay, here choose the correct option to complete each sentence. You look worried, Sameer. What dash you? What was troubled you? What is troubling you? What troubled you? What will trouble you? Here the correct answer is B, what is troubling you, because we're talking about the present. Okay, so what is troubling you, which means present continuous. Now here, A, this is the past tense. A, trouble the original. C, trouble the original one. D, will trouble future tense. Okay, here the room looks very clean. Dia dash it. Dia clean it, cleaning it, has cleaned it, or will clean it. Here the correct answer is C. Has cleaned it. This is present perfect. Has cleaned it. Because the room is already very clean. Now A, clean. This is the original form. B, cleaning, the continuous form. D, will clean, the future form. Alright, next. By this time tomorrow, we dash reached Mathura. We will be reached, we will reach, have reached, we will have reached. Here the correct answer is D. Will have reached. This is what? This is future perfect. I told you, talking about when we are talking about an action which will be completed by a certain time in the future. So that time we use future perfect. So we will have reached Mathura. D. Here we dash to fill the form yesterday. We forget to, we forgot to, we forgotten to, or D, have forgotten to. Here the correct answer is B, forgot. Simple past, we forgot to fill the form yesterday. Talking about an action which has been completed in the past. A, forget. This is the original form. C, forgotten, the V3 form. D, have forgotten, have forgotten. This is totally incorrect. Here the V3 form is also not correct. Okay, here I dash your report card yet. I haven't seen, I saw, or I see. Here the correct answer is A. Present perfect. I haven't seen your report card yet. Alright. So with this, we finish off with our questions on tenses. Tenses is a pretty heavy topic. I would request you to revise it multiple times so that you have clarity in various forms. Okay.
Alright everyone, that's all for the class on tenses. I hope you have understood the various types. It is very important that you revise all these and have them on your tips so that you can choose the correct tense at the correct place. Otherwise, as I told you, it can completely change the meaning of the sentence. I will see you in the next class. Thank you.